Hello friends, and welcome to the tutorial on loops in Python. At the end of the tutorial, you will be able to use the for loop, use the while loop, and use break, continue and pass statements to play around the loop. Before beginning this tutorial, we would suggest you to complete the tutorial on getting started with for and conditionals. Let us start our IPython interpreter. Type IPython in the command. We shall first begin with the while loop. The while loop is used for repeated execution as long as condition is true. Let us print the squares of all odd numbers less than 10 using the while loop. So type I is equal to 1, where while I less than 10 colon, then print I multiplied by I, then I plus is equal to 2. This loop prints the squares of odd numbers below 10. The while loop repeatedly checks if the condition is true and executes the block of code within the loop if it is. As with many other blocks in Python, the code within the while block is indented to the right by 4 spaces. So pause the video here, try the following exercise and resume the video. Write a while loop to print the squares of all the even numbers below 10. So now switch to terminal for solution. Type I is equal to 2, then type while I less than 10 colon, and print I into I. Then I plus is equal to 2. Let us now solve the same problem of printing the squares of all odd numbers less than 10 using the for loop. As we know, the for loop iterates over a list or any other sequential data type. So we use the range function to get a list of odd numbers below 10 and then iterate over it and print the required stuff. So type for n in range within brackets 1, 10, 2 colon, then print n multiplied by n. We can see that we got the same output as before. Note that the lines of code are less. So pause the video here, try the following exercise and resume. Write a for loop to print the squares of all even numbers below 10. So now switch to terminal. Type for n in range within brackets 2, 10, 2 then colon, then print n multiplied by n. Let us now look how to use the keywords pass, break and continue. As we already know, pass is just a syntactic filler. It is used for the sake of completion of blocks that do not have any code within them. So type for n in range 2, 10, 2 colon, then pass, enter. Break is used to break out the innermost loop. The while loop to print the squares of all odd numbers below 10 can be modified using break statement as follows. So type I is equal to 1 while true colon, print I multiplied by I plus is equal to 2 if I is less than 10 colon, Then next step, break. Oh, so we got an error, syntax error now, because that if is not inside the while loop. So we will just try the command again. So type while true colon print I multiplied by I, then I plus is equal to 2, and make sure if is inside the while loop. If I less than 10 colon, then type break. Continue is used to skip execution of the rest of the loop on this iteration and continue to the end of this iteration. So we wish to print the squares of all the odd numbers below 10, which are not multiples of 3. We would modify the for loop as follows. So in terminal type for n in range 1, 10, 2 colon, if n modulo 3 is equal to 0 colon, continue print n multiplied by n. So now pause the video here and try out the following exercise and resume the video. Using the continue keyword, modify the for loop with the range 2, 10, 2 to print the squares of even numbers below 10, which are multiples of 4. So do not modify the range function call. Now switch to terminal for solution. Type for n in range 2, 10, 2 colon, then if n modulo 4 and continue, then print n multiplied by n. So now this brings us to the end of this tutorial. In this tutorial we have learned to iterate over a sequence using for and while loops, breakout of loops using break statement, skip iterations using continue statement, use the pass statement in a loop. Here are some self-assessment questions for you to solve. Given, first one is given range 1, 4 colon, write a code to print only the number 1. The second one is, which statement do you use to skip iterations? Break, pass and continue. And just look at the answers. The first one, we can use the break statement in a for loop as colon, that is for I in range within brackets 1, 4 colon, then print I break. And the second one, in order to skip the iteration, we make use of continue statement. So we hope you have enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. Thank you.